Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to License to View. This is a weekly podcast where two best friends get together to talk about pop culture news. I'm Jason. That's Zach. What's going on, man?
Not much, man. Just another week here. Yeah, not too much going on. Same old stuff.
Yeah.
Work,
No, absolutely,
not
man.
work, all that stuff.
I'll tell you what, man.
Hmm.
Um, I feel like I'm so tired.
Yeah, I feel that a lot too.
I've been awake for like an hour because we record these
Hmm.
obviously very early in the morning. And
Yeah.
like I've been awake for like an hour almost, and I didn't go to bed again until like 3 in the morning last night. And I constantly
Hmm.
do that on Fridays. I just
Yeah.
stay up as late as I can because I don't know, trying to be like I'm 12 again or some bullshit. And I realize that
Yeah.
like it's a quick turn. It's a quick turnover.
Yeah, that's a quick. I mean, yeah, especially if you're not going to bed till like 3 a.m. It's a quick turn. I don't know. I have this problem where it's like I don't know if you've had this, but I have this thing where I'm constantly like not that I'm trying to stay up, but I just like there's a lot of times where I just like I don't have it in my head that I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go to bed right now. And so a lot of times I'll end up like watching something or playing something and like fall asleep on my couch. And that's what happened last
Uh,
night. Because I think I was going through a rerun of like Red Letter Media because I watched their shit like way too much. Um, but I was watching one of their vids and all of a sudden I woke up and it was like 12:30. And I
right.
was like, fuck, dude, I gotta like go to bed. So then it's just like, yeah. I don't know, it feels weird,
No,
you
I
know?
don't have that problem per se. I have the problem more so of like purposefully trying to stay awake because I know
Hmm.
that like I don't get free time anymore. Like as an
Hmm.
adult, like you have less free
Yeah.
time. So you want to make the most out of your like weekends and shit because weekends go
Hmm.
by so fast. And
Incredibly fast.
you start like trying to expand your night, like your day, like trying to compile everything into it,
Yeah.
and then you quickly realize that like, yeah, it doesn't matter because on Sunday I'm gonna sleep in, like I'm gonna act like I'm not gonna want to, but it's going
Yeah.
to affect me because I'm gonna be so tired or something or whatever day it is,
Yeah.
and I realize that like the realization that you're not 15,
Yeah.
hits you hard, and I'm not even old,
For
but
sure.
like it's just the idea that like I can't even stay up late anymore.
We haven't even hit 30 yet,
I
Jason.
know. I'm close, man.
Yeah.
But Zach,
I know.
what have you been up to, man, this last week? What you been checking
Oh,
out?
couple of things. So, first of all, I did finish Ghost in the Shell season one.
Okay.
Um, I liked the ending for it a lot. I like the storyline they build up with like the Laughing Men and whatnot. I like the kind of like, it's a very like not capitalist, but it's a very like I don't know. It's got the deep espionage thing, like corporate espionage stuff, where it's all about like it ends up being about the whole conspiracy ends up being about the fact that like the government was hiding that this one medication for like a cybernetic brain disease, that there was like a better like vaccine for it, and the government was basically like hiding that from the world because there was some other technology at the time that like if they had admitted that like this other vaccine worked, like this other technology wouldn't have been developed, and this other technology is basically like the basis for like the Ghost in the Shell world as a whole. I think they call it like micro machines or something like that. Um, so there's that type of thing, but then it also gets back to the. I thought about it more than this, but I think it always have it in the back of my mind with like every sort of espionage thing where it's like I don't know, it's just like a vaccine. I don't feel like you need to like kill an entire business full of like nonprofit lawyers to like protect this secret. I don't know, but it
Right.
also gets down to like the pride thing maybe where it's like it all gets headed by this like government guy and it's like him trying to hold on to power or something I guess,
Yeah.
but in the moment, it always feels me to me where it's like, oh, this is just about like medicine. Like I don't know why, I don't understand where we're like blowing up buildings for this, but I guess it's always that like corporate
I
espionage.
shit, man. Cost that shit makes money.
Yeah, yeah. I guess it always just comes
You
down to
know,
money and that type of
like
thing.
I'm not trying to dive into the politics,
Yeah,
but like, didn't our government pay a bunch of companies like $2 billion each to just try to make a COVID vaccine?
yeah.
Like
And
that,
then the one
not
that,
even succeed, just try. Like two
well, the
billion
one
dollars,
that
just try.
is apparently succeeding right now, the Pfizer vaccine, didn't take government money according to them to make it, but they are taking government money to distribute it, which I guess
Right.
is better. I
No,
think.
I mean, I like. I'm not gonna. I don't care about the reason why, because it's business and like do your
Yeah.
thing. It's business, you know. if you, but like the idea that like that in stories when people I don't find the medical story shit like the vaccine stuff. I've seen
Hmm.
you see it in a lot of shit.
Hmm.
Not like it's a common storyline, but you
Yeah.
definitely have seen it before. Didn't like Mission Impossible like 6 have like kind of like a or 5
Uh,
when Ethan goes back his when his ex girlfriend's working in like the village, isn't there
yeah,
some
that's
vaccine thing
6.
going on in that movie too?
Uh,
Like why are they in
I
that
don't.
village?
I think she was like working to like help. Uh, no, I think there was a disease or
Was
something
there
like that.
was it the Henry
Because they were
Cavill thing?
like
Was
gonna
there
blow up a bomb, and then I think the bomb was gonna like distribute the vaccine or distribute the virus or something like that. I don't remember. It's been like a year or
yeah,
two since I
something like
watched
that.
Fallout, but it was something like that, I think.
Something like that, you know. But cyberpunk stuff,
Well, the Mission Impossible 2 was about that because Mission Impossible 2 was the Chimera virus. And then you
I don't
got
remember
the
that.
black chick who like injected herself with the virus at the end. And then there was a vaccine or something. Mission Impossible 2 is a weird movie, but
I don't remember anything from Mission Impossible 2 except for mask and motorcycle.
I was about to say the best scene with the motorcycle where
That's
he like
all I
spins
remember.
around and he has
Yep,
the machine gun and just bah, 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 bah.
that's all I remember.
That was good stuff.
But so Ghost in the Shell.
Ghost of Shell. Ghost of Shell's fun. So I'm down to start the second season. I probably won't. I'm not going to start it right away because I haven't started it yet. But I am down to start the second season because I enjoyed the world a lot and I enjoyed the characters and whatnot. And they also did the weird thing where it's like they did the thing where I knew they intentionally set it up so they could have this one thing play off because in the basically the last like 6 episodes of the season are all about that season long story arc that they've been building up to about this like vaccine and the cover up and all that kind of stuff, which they've been sprinkling through. And then the last 6 episodes is like, we're gonna wrap up the whole thing,
Right.
which is fine. Like I was fine with that because the ramp up to that point, I was like, okay, this justifies that. Like, yeah, this is gonna take a while to ramp up, but it got to the point where it's like, I think it was like the second or no, it was like the second to last episode of the season. They basically introduced that like the major has like a fully remote uh she has the ability to like fully remote
Mm-hmm.
control like bodies and whatnot, so like
Yeah.
she doesn't have to like supplant her consciousness and whatnot. And they introduced that in like the second to last episode and I was like, okay, that's a weird thing to introduce. And then at the end of that episode she gets assassinated, and as soon as that happened I was like, okay, so it's not her, like it was a
Yeah.
fully remote body. And I was, the next
Yeah.
like 5 minutes in the next episode, they're like, "Yeah, it wasn't really her." And I was like, "Yeah, I fucking knew that. Like, you
Yeah,
introduced that like
there's
10 seconds
they
ago."
constantly do that thing, and I think they mention it in even like the reboot shit, or maybe even in the live action movie where it's like, oh well, she hasn't had her real body since she was a baby,
Yeah,
or there's some bullshit explanation, and I'm
yeah. It's like
like,
it's said she was like a real little kid or something
and
like
it's
that.
kind of like that don't make sense. Like
Yeah,
even in the world of androids, like I'm like I don't know if
yeah.
that makes sense.
Well, it also doesn't make sense because it was like, I don't know, if she hasn't had it from since she was a kid. Like, was she put into a kid's body and like had to constantly be like
Yeah,
switching bodies as she got older,
I
or was she
think
just
so.
like
No,
automatically in like an adult body?
I would assume so.
Yeah,
Like I would assume like that's what they do for kids who are like you're in school and you're like we're
yeah.
not gonna put you in like an adult ass body.
Yeah, because I mean, a cyber body is not going to grow at all.
Right.
So, like, I don't know. It's very
Yeah,
strange.
that ability to me always felt kind of like
Yeah.
Deus Ex Machina type shit.
I also don't understand it at all in general because I feel like, I don't know. I feel like for most people, or maybe I'm just misunderstanding the world, but it feels like for most people, it feels like as long as you have, like, unless you're somebody like Togusa who, like, isn't really cyberdized at all, but I feel like most people, like, as long as you have the cyber brain, that you can just put yourself into any body that you
Yeah.
want. I thought that was kind of like the part of the Ghost in the Shell world, but then
It
it
was,
feels like a lot of people are still like very protective over
it's that fucking
their bodies as a whole.
Bruce Willis movie.
Yeah, I felt like that's what I thought that was like a thing in Ghost in the Shell, but it felt like
It's not
except for
really.
like it makes sense for Tokusa to kind of because
Yeah.
he's always just kind of like been
Yeah.
against cybernization in general. But it feels like everybody else, like I don't know why they're so protective over their bodies. Like you can just like, I mean, it happens to the major where she was like, there's one scene where she like completely gets her arm taken off, and then they just put her in a new body that like
Yeah.
looks exactly the same. So I was like,
Yeah.
I don't understand the point. I guess because it's expensive, maybe, but like I don't know. You work for a
Probably
secret
that.
government agency. Like I feel like you don't have to pay any money.
I mean, I think it's also like it it's never a choice that they write about.
Mm,
They just like kind of like just say it, and then
yeah.
they don't dive into it more. But
Mm-hmm.
like in reality, I would assume like, okay, well, if I'm at the crossroad of like augmentation
Mm-hmm.
or like full like just
Being a full
take
cyborg.
my
Yeah.
brain and just like move it around,
Mm-hmm.
like you're already like halfway there
Yeah.
if you're going
Well, it's
into your
like
body.
Bato's. Like Bato's
Yeah,
basically
you're
like
there.
there.
You're like you're not like 90% machine and then like 10%. You're 10% of your brain. It's
Yeah.
just your brain. Like you're already past human being mode. Like
Mm-hmm.
like it's not like Bato can like have kids.
Yeah.
Unless he before he joined the military, he had like a bunch of like sperm frozen or something like that. Like
Yeah.
so like that part is doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. I
It's not
feel you
like
there.
it's like what was it called? What's that movie? That Netflix show with Joel Kinnaman where they get re-sleeved?
Oh,
Altered Carbon.
yeah, altered
Where like
carbon.
those are human bodies. Like those are
Yeah.
like actual like no obviously they're augmented too a little bit, but like
Yeah.
they're not like cybernetic machine
Yeah.
bodies. Where like where even there like the only certain people get re-sleeved if they have like the class
You can only get re-sleeved in like a good body.
or
Yeah, if you've
if
got
you're like
like
a
money.
military person like
Yeah.
so or like well I know they re-sleeve people in the beginning of the show they keep redoing it but like
They
it
re-sleeve
takes
people, but
forever.
it takes forever, and it's also like you really are not going to get
You
like a
get whoever
particularly
you
good body
get.
because like in Altered Carbon, it was like a parent's got like their kid re-sleeve, and it's like in like a fully
Old
grown
lady,
like
yeah.
Mexican gangbanger or something like
Yeah.
that.
So it's
And
like
they're like, "This is my daughter,
yeah.
daughter." But yeah,
Um yeah, that's
yeah.
funny.
Yeah, so that was like I don't know, those kind of some of the things I was thinking about as I was watching it. The other big thing was Tekken 7 Season 4 came out this week, and I've been playing that like a mofo all week. Um, because I really enjoy Tekken. I mean, honestly, it was like as I was playing it, I was like, even like not being online, I just enjoy playing Tekken more than like most other fighting games, even though I'm not the best at it, especially in like controlling 3D space. Because moving is in Tekken is like really difficult compared to like other games, because it was not. I mean, because it's a 3D space thing, but also just like for backdashing and forward dashing isn't like as smooth, and there really isn't like dashing per se. Because if you try to dash, most of the time you like end up going into like a full on sprint if you're not like canceling it out. So there's that weird like I don't know, movement is something that's like very strange to do in that kind of game. But I enjoy playing it a
Yeah.
lot, and because Kunimitsu came out, and I've been playing her because she's a super fun character. I like her design a lot, female ninja thief, and she's got a lot of cool stuff um, that I enjoy playing as. Um, yeah, I still haven't
That's
jumped
cool.
online yet, but I probably should because I know that they retooled online a lot, and from what I've been seeing from like the Tekken YouTubers that I've been watching, it feels a lot better, and you also have the ability to like see who's playing on Wi-Fi, and so you can be like
Right.
that shit.
Yeah, not playing that, yeah.
Yeah, which I saw something where it was like people are on Twitter, the Wi-Fi players on Twitter were complaining. They were like, nobody wants to play a game with us. And I was like, yeah, because nobody wants to play like they're fucking have their
Yeah.
hands tied behind their back.
No one wants to play when they're underwater.
No, nobody wants to. But so yeah, I might try to jump into online next week. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with that. And the last thing, Jason,
Hmm.
I told you about this last night. It was a big day for me last night.
Yeah.
Big thing happened because two worlds collided in a podcast, and I was very happy with it. I finished the
You
episode
mean
last night.
the Powerman 5000 song?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. I actually don't know that song. Is it good?
Um, I feel you definitely heard it before.
Okay.
It's definitely like a 2000. I mentioned it last week actually. Speaking of
Did
fucking
you? Okay.
yeah, it's a Rob Zombie's brothers band
Oh,
where
okay.
it
Yeah.
sounds like Rob Zombie.
Right.
You've heard the song before for sure.
Okay.
Bum 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 when worlds collide. Dun, 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 bum, bum, bum,
Oh,
bum.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But so yeah, worlds did collide because
Hmm.
some of my favorite anime YouTubers, their podcast Trash Chase, collided with a VTuber who they had on as a special guest. Calliope Mori they had her on for about 2 hours. And it was great. I mean, you just talked about they kind of talked about like the VTubing industry and like what goes into it and like what led her to being a VTuber and like what she was doing beforehand, where she was like
So
even
so
before
they broke kayfabe
kind
to an
of.
extent.
I mean, she still had her kayfabe on, where it's like, she's not like saying like I live in blah 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 blah, but she's still keeping on her
But
like,
is she
yeah, when
like
I like grew up in the underworld and like
okay?
went to
Okay,
like
never
Grim
mind then.
Reaper school and like I have
Never
like
mind.
side slaying lessons, which is like
Never
her
mind.
slang for like she has a real job outside of being a
Right.
VTuber,
Okay.
so she calls it her side.
I thought she broke kayfabe, but that's still in
She kind of
kayfabe.
it's kind of kayfabe, but it's also like I don't know. The code's like really easy to like, especially in this episode. Like the code's really easy to break down, like what exactly like in her kayfabe like certain phrases mean. So it's like it is and it isn't breaking kayfabe at the same time. Um, but it's also really good. I mean, they just talk about like what she did beforehand, and she was really big. Like even before she was, a VTuber, she was very big into like the underground rap scene, and they kind of like go into that of like how she grew up, like being a rapper and like wanting to like get more into music and like trying to like do her own mixes and stuff like that, and like what led to her like wanting to create an album and like how she thought of VTubers and how she was initially kind of like sus on it, and then she actually met one and like saw like what the business is like through her eyes, and so she kind of figured that like she would try it and get into it, and it's something that like she really really liked. um but just seeing them like interact together, and also like I mean it's interesting what they did, because they didn't just have like a laptop set up. They actually had like a, I'm sure it was like a blank empty chair, but they actually had like a
Yeah, the
2D.
cutout. Yeah.
They had like a, it was like a, it wasn't 2D. It
No,
was
so it's
it
like
was very
superimposed.
it was very flat from like certain angles,
Yeah.
but it was like if you were, they had like a straight on shot of her, and it actually had like some depth to it. I don't know. It's very strange to like kind of describe, but it looked really good. They had that wide shots where you could see all four of them, and then you can tell like it's super flat in those
Hmm.
shots. Um, but it was really really fun. I know I enjoyed hearing from her a lot. She's one of the ones that like I initially was kind of like all right on, and like as I've started like listening more to her music and like just like catching more of her streams, I've started like her a lot more, like as a VTuber. So to see her like on the podcast with them was super fun, and I'm sure that like she'll probably be on again, because it seemed like she had a good time and she like bonded with them all a lot, and they kind of like already invited her back to do another episode later on, and so I'm hoping they're like gonna branch out and maybe do like some different VTubers and stuff like that. I mean, they already have like such a like, I mean, they've only been doing their podcast for like 3 or 4 months at this point, but they've already had like a fair number of guests. I mean, like
True.
Don had his girlfriend on like
A few
a
weeks
week or
ago.
two, a couple
Yeah.
weeks ago. She was on,
Yeah.
and that was a fun episode too.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a fun time. I enjoyed watching it, and yeah, I think you should watch it, because I definitely think you're in the same band camp as Connor in the podcast, where he's like, I don't get what the fuck is going on. Like, I don't even
So
know. Like,
I clicked on the video. I watched like 2 minutes of it just to see
mhm.
how they were gonna do it, and the comments kept talking about how like the comments in the video were like, yeah, hopefully this like helps the white guy like
Yeah,
understand more or whatever, and like I'm thinking to myself like, and it's funny you say that, right? Because I was like, I bet Zach's gonna mention this, not the podcast, but mention that particular part of the podcast where like he's the one guy's not all in yet.
yeah.
And I'm like thinking to myself, like, I bet Zach's gonna mention that. 'Cause I haven't heard the guy talk about it, but
Hmm.
I'm like thinking to myself, like, just by nature of the world he's in, he's already more in than me. Like, he's
Yeah,
already more in than I am. The fact that
true.
he's on a podcast where that's happening,
Yeah,
um, um, but also just living in Japan, like he's already closer to that than I am.
yeah, that's true.
Um, but so I wanted to see how they were like the technical of how they were going to do it,
Yeah.
and I wanted to see if she broke kayfabe, and
Hmm.
within like the first 4 minutes, she's doing that like anime
Yeah.
talking shit.
Hmm.
No, done, done already.
That's her kayfabe.
That's I know, and like yeah, listen, I get it, I understand.
She breaks it a lot further when you get into like, I think it's like 45 minutes or so. There's eventually a point where they were like, all the guys were like cursing a bunch, and think she actually let it slip. She's like, "Oh, you can curse?" They're like, "Yeah, fuck yeah, like fucking curse, like go ahead."
Right.
And she's like, "I can't do it on command." And then all of a sudden, later on, she's like, slipping it out every other sentence and whatnot. I mean, she's like, I like her a lot. I like her personality, but
It's the Again, I haven't watched any of her shit, so I can't comment on the
Yeah.
quality of anything. But just
Hmm.
from the short little burst that I got, it sounded
Hmm.
like American or whatever she is, Canadian, a Western person doing
Yeah.
anime voice, and like I've seen that
Hmm.
at conventions, and we've all seen that at conventions, and it's
Yeah.
fucking cringy as shit, like in person. Now I'm not saying that what
Yeah.
she's doing is cringy. I'm not saying that, but like it gives me the memory, the PTSD of being like
Mm.
at a con and seeing like a
Okay.
white girl who's like, and I'm just like, fucking stop doing that.
Yeah.
Like dress up as a
I feel you.
character, you don't have to be the character. Like people do
Yeah.
that. I personally don't like that. I mean, I know some people think it's really cool to put on the Jack Sparrow costume and walk around and think that you're Jack Sparrow, or like the big one is like put on the Joker costume, pretend to be the Joker,
Uh,
or pretend to be Harley Quinn. And
or
I
you can just be
fucking
Deadpool and just be yourself because Deadpool has no character.
right, or people would put on the Deadpool costume and think that they're gonna be funny all the time. And it's like, listen, first off, he's not funny as it is, and you're not funny. So you combining the two in your life, guess what? Just makes you still not funny. Like it's annoying as shit.
Yeah.
Um, that in my perspective of life, because I think cosplaying is great. I think costumes are great,
Hmm.
and I love characters. Clearly, I like pro wrestling. I'm all about
Yeah.
characters. That's why I don't have a problem with this VTuber like staying in
Hmm.
kayfabe because I like part of me respects the game. That's the
Yeah.
gig, you know.
Hmm.
Um, it's just that particular like strand of character voice
Yeah.
that's
I
like
get that.
you see it on like TikTok or see it on YouTube and you're like,
Yeah,
ugh.
I mean, I definitely understand how that could be like grinding and annoying, especially yeah when you look at like TikTok or like yeah like
But
old
that's the
conventions and
nature of
stuff.
the that's what I'm saying. It's the nature of the realm that she's in.
Yeah,
Like you can't like you can't, she's not gonna I'm not she's not gonna come on stream and not do that.
yeah,
That's the way into the fucking waifu category.
yeah,
And that's how like so I get it.
yeah.
I'm not bashing that, you know.
Hmm.
It just to me personally, like it's like okay,
Yeah, I feel you.
yeah.
I definitely understand where you're coming from with that. Yeah.
But
Um.
I liked how they did it, even though
Mhm.
it means that for like an hour and a half they're looking at an empty chair.
Yeah.
Um, again, I didn't watch the full thing. I just watched it for the first few minutes. Pretty
I
much just the
assume that what they
intro.
did was they probably had like I mean they had the empty chair, but I definitely seen that there's some shots that I assume they probably had a monitor where they could like see her
Something, yeah.
reactions to her face and
Oh yeah.
whatnot, stuff like that.
I
But yeah,
told
I mean
you.
it is yeah just basically an empty
I
chair.
told you on text yesterday, dude, and
Hmm.
I'll say again for the podcast.
Yeah.
This is gonna crash and burn. Like that the business. I'm
Oh
saying
yeah.
one of these characters is gonna get fucking Montreal screw jobbed.
Yeah.
It's gonna someone's gonna get screwed Brett, and next thing you know, I'm not saying it's gonna be bad for that person's career because maybe that person will just start doing it on some hacker person's gonna like
Hmm.
figure it out, or a webcam's gonna be left on, or some
Hmm.
technology's gonna fail, and it's gonna be like the kayfabe break of the actual person,
Hmm.
and depending on how the person actually looks, could break bad, or if the
Hmm.
person looks like like what if it's a dude,
Yeah.
like that character's dead, so you
Yeah.
know, or what if this like what since you don't see who the people are,
Hmm.
it could be like the it's more wrestling shit.
Yeah.
It could be like Tiger Mask, where like, well, clearly it's a different person, but it's the
Hmm.
same character. So like, I
Hmm.
wonder, like, okay, well, fuck that this person's having problems in real life, so let's just like shoo them away, and then we'll hire a new person to play the character. And maybe for the
Hmm.
first couple of weeks, people will be like, I think this is a different person because the voice might be a little bit different.
Hmm.
Like obviously, it's hard for this character that you're talking about because she raps or something.
Yeah.
That's a little hard to replace. But like like the Sherlock Holmes character, like there's nothing particularly significant to that character except for a persona that you can replicate. I can see like why wouldn't you be able to just like Tiger Mask it, or like Lucha Libre, like just put it in a new character. Um, but my ultimate fear is that like it's gonna get doxxed, and because nothing because whenever even if people love something, there's some
Hmm.
dickhead who's gonna ruin it for everybody.
Oh, it's already a big problem in the community, not with like people getting doxxed, but there's always one of the bigger problems that like as far as the VTuber community, like I'm not super into this kind of stuff. I've just seen a couple of videos about it, but they call them like antis or something like that, and they're basically people that like hate on VTubers and like try to like get them in trouble, and they're basically just like they're people that are fucking assholes because they're assholes.
Right,
Like,
right,
you
right.
know. Um, but I mean that's already yeah. I mean that segment has already like kind of
Like,
shown
what are
up
they
in
doing?
a lot of times they try to I don't know if you probably didn't know too much about this, but there was a time a couple of I think it was almost a month ago now where two and this isn't specifically anti stuff, but it was like it got egged on by them where there was two VTubers from Hololive in Japan that got suspended for 3 weeks because they were doing something with like I think they were like showing their analytics or something like that from
Mm.
like YouTube or Google or something like that, and it showed Taiwan as an independent country, like as far as like where analytics were coming from, and
Hmm.
basically like China came down and was like, "Fuck that! You're not allowed to show that because China's a bunch of fucking assholes when it comes to Taiwan.
Right.
Even though Taiwan's its own country, they act like it's fucking not because they're
Hmm.
fucking pieces of shit." Um,
Right.
but so that analytics came out, and then these VTubers basically got like suspended for 3 weeks because of this thing that was
From
like not
Twitch
even
or
really
from
their fault
Hololive?
from Hololive.
Okay.
Like they weren't allowed to
From the
stream for three
company.
weeks. Yeah, like they weren't allowed to do anything for like
That's
3 weeks. Like
that's a
they
that dude. That's a work, Zach.
yeah.
That's a work.
I don't know, dude.
That's a work, bro. That has to be a work. That's the
I don't.
company.
I feel like it kind of wasn't because it's. I don't know. I don't know.
That's how you know it's a good work.
It's possible.
Why would the
It's
company not?
possible we were just getting worked.
Why would the
They did come
company?
back and they came back like pretty fucking strong because they were two
Hey,
like the especially for like those VTubers specifically in Japan were like big for like English speakers because those are the two that like speak English the best. Like one
right.
is Hachima who lives in Australia, so she's Japanese but she lives in Australia, so she's
Hmm.
been like learning English in Australia. And then the other is Coco who is I don't know if she's a native English, but she speaks fluent English.
Right.
Um, I
That's a
think she is
Zach.
because
You
I know that
guys.
she said before that her Japanese like isn't the greatest, but
You guys got worked, bro. That's a work.
it's possible. It's very
Here's
possible.
what. This is what it is,
Now
right?
I'm thinking about it. I don't know because then it also
Zach,
just got
it's
to the thing where it's like I don't
bro.
know.
It's a work. Here's how it's a work, right? I'm not saying they went into it like being like, hey, show analytics and then we'll put you on suspension. But
Yeah,
like that's 3 weeks of daily stream for two people where the company's not making money.
yeah,
Okay. That's first off, no,
yeah,
that's too much money to not get,
yeah.
right?
Especially for
He-
Coco because
Here's
she was one of the biggest super chat.
right.
She was like the one of the
Receivers.
ones who received like the like of the entire YouTube
Right.
platform. She's the one that like receives the most money from super chat.
This is what that is. Hey, you guys have been working every day.
Hmm.
Y'all need a vacation or a
Hmm.
break. So we're gonna work something. And guess what? Perfect timing. No one's gonna say that we can't do that because it's our own. It's not Twitch or YouTube banning you. It's us suspending you because you broke our own policy as a business, which no one
Hmm.
can dispute because it's our policy. It's much like the WWE being like, "Oh, so and so is in the hospital from a chair shot." Well, fucking, that's a work, dummy.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
it's a work.
Possible.
They because you don't know they fucking tired of shit. You know, every day sitting there fucking doing a voice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like it can be like a regular street streamer where you can sit in your underwear and be like, you know, you can just sit there and people still subscribe to you. These people have to actually act.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, I think this sounds like a work to me. And then this fucking
Possible.
these asshole people just like used it as a way to like spread it as though it's no a shoot. I'm just
Yeah.
I'm just using every wrestling term this week because I watched a lot of wrestling this week, so I'm just using every wrestling thing.
Hey, that's fine with me, man. I mean, I get what you're saying. You know, our audience might not,
Listen,
but you
man,
know, I do.
these
I know what
ant
shoot is.
these anti people that they're building up heat like crazy,
Yeah.
and these fucking
They definitely are. They're building up crazy amounts of heat. I mean, I don't know, because it gets to the point where it's like I don't know. It kind of got to the point where it was like the antis kind of tried to make like Hachima and Coco like the heels, but I mean like they're such baby faces, especially
yeah,
Coco. Like everybody
yeah,
loves Coco, you know,
right,
except for the antis. Like she's such She's such a baby face. I mean, she made the most money from super chats, so like clearly people love supporting her and like will like watching
Right.
her.
Well,
Um,
you can't be a
but it would
heel.
be like I don't know. It's like trying to like say that John Cena's not going to wrestle for 3 weeks because he like said something bad about I don't know what would be a controversial thing in WWE that like outside of like kayfabe, what would be a controversial thing
Well,
that
I'll give
like
you a perfect example of something
all
that
right,
just
Tom.
just happened last night.
Okay.
Not on TV. This is a shoot, but like
Yeah.
um, one of the female wrestlers, managers,
Hmm.
got fired last night, just in real time. But
Damn.
before she got fired, earlier in the day, she tweeted out, "I support unionization." And a couple
Oh.
hours later,
Yeah, that'll
WWE
be it.
WWE Twitter was like, we wish her. It's a classic WWE term, which is like where they say, if they let you go, they
Hmm.
always use the same phrase, which we wish you best of luck with your future endeavors.
Yeah.
That's what they always say. So like people are always like Reddit are like, yeah, future endeavors. That's what they always
Yeah.
say. So she got like just coincidence. Who knows if she
Coincidence.
was like fired beforehand and then she tweeted
Hmm.
that as a result. Who knows? Um,
Maybe.
but like there's so many times in pro wrestling where like in the WWE or whatever it is, like where
Hmm.
someone's off TV for 3 weeks and you think it's a shoot, but in reality the person just burnt out.
Yeah, that's true.
A knee injury is actually not a knee injury. It's like
It's them working on a
it's
movie
that
or
it's
something.
them
Yeah.
working on it's something like that. Where like hey, we're finishing up a program or a storyline, and I'm gonna hit you with a really bad chair shot or a bump, and
Hmm.
we're gonna put you away in a stretcher, and
Hmm.
that's how we take you off TV for 3 weeks, so you can just kind
Yeah.
of like go to fucking Costa Rica or wherever the fuck you want to go to,
Yeah.
and that they work in the work injury becomes the vacation.
Yeah.
And obviously, this is a little analytics I can see being an actual issue, so I understand that. But at
Hmm.
the same time, as a conspiracy theorist, that's a work.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely possible that like it could have been a work. Um, I don't know. I don't know. I think it was just like the China shit, and
But
China's been
it's such a
bad in like
like I hate a lot of stuff. Like
yeah.
I hate a lot of things in life. Like just
Hmm.
and not even hate is the wrong word. I think a lot of things are like are just dumb and like
Yeah.
not enjoyable. Because I'm a fatalist by nature
Hmm.
and a contrarian by nature, which sucks. But like I'm never gonna go out of my way to be
Hmm.
like to try to like fuck something up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't like 90% of Twitch,
Yeah.
but I'm not gonna be like on every video that person posts or whatever on YouTube or every Twitch or every Reddit thread
Hmm.
being like so and so did this and so like
Yeah.
that's too much energy.
Hmm.
I just don't like it. Don't watch it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like don't
That's
like it.
my
Don't watch
thinking
it.
about it.
Like if I don't like a VTuber, which I don't,
Hmm.
I'm just not gonna watch it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I rub you for fun, but like I don't care that you watch it. I'm never like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna think less of you for watching it. Now, there's a line, like I've said before. If you start like OnlyFans VTuber, and then yeah, I'm like Zach. That's a digital thing.
Yeah.
You're paying for like hentai. That's weird. Like don't do that.
Oh, I would just be like, freaking do OnlyFans in general, because like, I mean, you got
Yeah.
Pornhub, shit's free. You don't
Right.
got to do OnlyFans.
Right. Yeah, you're fucking middle school quality. Like fuck you, dude. What are you talking
Yeah.
about? Did you go to film school? No. Fuck you. You know better than Bang Bros. Eat dicks. Talking about.
You know
Um.
more than Brazzers, the most
Yeah. Come
successful
on.
website on the internet? Fuck
Act
off.
like where are we coming from with this? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Also, I'm on TikTok, man. I see these OnlyFans girls. Like, oh,
Dude. I mean,
yeah,
I don't know. I've never been on TikTok, but goddamn.
you need to get on TikTok. It's the best.
Everybody tells me that.
It's the
Everybody tells
best.
me that.
It's a couple years ago. I guess 2 years ago now, when my girlfriend and I first downloaded it because I was like, I'm gonna check it out. I'm old as shit. I want
I
to
don't know. I
just
mean, I enjoy watching Tom and Christina's TikTok curations,
yeah.
but I don't know if I'd actually want to like go on that
No, here's the
myself.
thing. Okay, so I thought the same thing 2 years ago. I was like,
Okay.
I'm too old for this. No, it's not gonna be as good as Vine. It's
I already
all
deleted Snapchat. Like, I just don't like
it's
social media.
well, it's gonna be all dancing videos. I don't fucking care
Yeah.
about dancing video or lip sync videos,
Oh.
dude. It is the time drain of your day.
Okay.
Savannah and I, my girlfriend, we send each other every day probably like 30 TikToks a day of just like there's like I send a lot of dogs,
Hmm.
and then also like so much cringe,
Mm.
so much cringe, dude. I got. If I find it, if I liked it, I'll send it to you later. And there's a lot of mean shit on TikTok too, but
Mm-hmm.
a lot of good comments. Like I really like
Yeah.
funny comments. Like these like little kids are really mean and it's really creative. And before we move into what I've been checking out,
Mm-hmm.
there's a TikTok I got sent, and it was an overweight female
Mm-hmm.
cosplaying as Harley Quinn, but it was a really bad costume, like a
Mm-hmm.
really like homemade shitty
Yeah.
costume with really bad makeup,
Mm-hmm.
and the top comment with like 40,000 likes, and they get pushed to the top like kind of like Reddit does. She had like
Uh,
40,000 likes, and the top comment was Harley Queef. Like it's like shit like that, dude, or Harley Queef, and then there's another really fucked up like name. I can't remember what it was. Shit, hold on, let me see if I can find it real quick. Speaking of TikTok, you should get it though because it's super entertaining and it kills
Mhm.
time and it's just I didn't like it shit. Oh my gosh, but
I'm gonna go
it
find
was
it now.
it's so good, dude. It's so funny and
Okay.
you your feed curates to what you like. So
Right.
that's why on your mom's house, that's why her feed is like that because she likes videos. They're all like cracked out people.
Yeah. The dark
So she
tarts.
just gets more and more of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so if I like too many dog vids, I get too many dogs. So I have to go
Uh,
unlike my dog vids. That way I get back to cringe TikTok. That's my personal favorite.
um,
Is like I love that. I love that where people are like, it's kind of mean. Where like people are being sincere in their videos, but they're like also socially inept
right.
at
Yeah.
like understanding that what they're posting is like really fucking
Yeah.
cringy. I can't find it, but if I find it, I'll send it to you because the comments were really funny. But
Okay.
yeah, that's TikTok. You should get it.
I'll think about it. I mean, I've always, I enjoyed Vine. That was kind of the big thing, and I'm probably still just like grasping onto Vine's straws. But
Well, there's liners on this, and there's people who do
yeah.
the same kind of thing. They just have more time,
Okay.
you know. So that's definitely something you should check out because it's funny.
Fair enough.
This week I got a couple things going on.
Ooh, hit me with them.
I already mentioned a lot of wrestling stuff, but I'll get to that in a little bit.
Okay.
Last Saturday night,
Mm-hmm.
probably I don't know 7 or 8 o'clock at night.
Mm-hmm.
My girlfriend and I were looking for something to watch, and I was like, you know what? I want to watch this movie. She's never seen it, so I was like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I'm gonna queue it up. It's on HBO Max. I told her, hey, if you don't want to watch this after the first 10 minutes, 15
Mm-hmm.
minutes, by all means, we can skip it. No problem.
Yeah.
And that was the Fast and Furious.
Oh shit, dude.
So we watched Fast One,
Nice.
and I was like, okay, what'd you think? She was in.
Oh yeah.
So what did I do next? Too Fast,
Eight
Too
movies
Furious.
later.
Too Fast, Too Furious. Right after it. Boom.
All
Too
right.
Fast, Too Furious. And I love that movie.
I don't remember Too
I
Fast and Furious being. It's funny. It has funny parts. I don't know.
the
I mean,
best
I've always
part.
been to Tokyo. I've always been to Fast Three.
There's two
That's always.
best parts of Too Fast, Too Furious.
Yeah.
The movie itself, like the story,
Yeah.
don't matter. It's a downgrade from the first movie,
Yes.
story wise. Now, cool shit wise, in terms of like
You got some dope stuff in
has
there.
some of the best lines. Like Too
Yes.
Fast, Too Furious has one of my favorite lines from the whole series, which is where at the very beginning, it's at the very beginning too, so it's like perfect. And I've been saying this for years with our friends, but like where when Ludacris is trying to find the next racer, the fourth racer for the first race in the movie,
Mm-hmm.
and the rest of the crew, like Steve Aoki's sister, is like, "Who? Anyone? It's okay. Anyone's fine." The guy from
Mm-hmm.
Prison Break's like, "Yeah, anyone's okay."
Yeah.
And then the guy from the black guy who's famous now too.
Yeah.
They're all like, "Yeah, go ahead, get anyone you want." So Ludacris calls Paul Walker's character, right, Brian,
Mm-hmm.
and he pulls up, and then the girl Suki's like, "Oh shit, it's Brian," which is like never been said before in
Yeah.
like life. No one's ever been like, "Oh shit, it's Paul." "Oh shit, it's Brian." Like those are names that
Yeah.
aren't attached to like badass characters.
Yeah.
So there's that one, and then later in the movie, where Tyrese's character, what's his name? Tyrese. Um,
Uh, dude, I don't even
Ted
remember. I just
Ludacris
call him Tyrese.
Ludacris is Tej,
Yeah.
and Tyrese's character is
Uh,
Roman. Roman.
Roman Reigns. No, not Roman
Roman
Reigns.
Pierce.
Roman Pierce.
Yeah, Roman is like trying to get something out of Paul Walker, out of Brian, to tell him something, and
Mm.
Brian's like, "Forget about it, cuh." That's like, what are you talking? Paul Walker, why'd you say that? You're like so gangster. Forget about it, cuh.
Uh,
So we watched Too Fast, Too Furious, and then immediately I had to go to Voodoo and
yeah,
rent Tokyo Drift.
Tokyo Drift, dude. God, Tokyo
And
Drift
she
is
loved
such a
that.
good movie.
She had a good time with that.
DK,
Um,
man, DK.
yeah, DK. And then after that, you know what we did?
The Fast and no,
No, just Fast and Furious.
Fast and Furious. Okay.
Yeah. So the whole time we're watching Tokyo Drift, she's like, she's like, where's everyone at? Like, what's the point?
Yeah.
Where's everybody going? And at the very end, obviously, we get that Dom cameo, and I was
Mm-hmm.
like, and they're pulling around the car and it's playing the Mexican music or whatever,
Yeah.
and I'm like, guess who it is? And she's like, oh, it's Roman, and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? What?
No.
No. So she sees it. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So the next movie starts, right? And she's like, okay, cool. Everyone's back. He's Paul
Mm-hmm.
Walker's FBI agent for some reason.
Some
For
reason.
some reason. Um,
The first one, the Fast and Furious, is basically like a soft reboot almost. 'Cause it's
Kinda, yeah.
basically the same
It's just
plot.
Justin Lin's first movie.
Yeah.
It's where they take it into what it is now.
Yeah.
You know
This is
that
like
that,
the
that new
first one where it
direction.
becomes like a crazy heist movie,
Yeah,
and everyone just becomes like a bigger heist.
right. And she enjoyed that. And I told her, hey, from now on, this
Yeah.
franchise is not about DVD players.
No.
This is about like
This
fucking like.
franchise isn't even about cars anymore.
It's not about cars anymore. Their cars are there as like set pieces, but
Yeah.
the rest of these movies are no longer about racing.
No.
Or like I said before on
I
the
really
podcast,
feel like you get that change for real in Fast Five, because that's the
Yeah.
first one with The Rock, isn't it?
yeah, Fast Five first
Yeah.
Rock. But the first three are obviously the racing centric ones, where like they're
Yeah.
learning how to race, getting better at racing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and how I love how the whole like the first movie, like the prime moment in the movie is a thing called race wars. I just
Yeah.
fucking love that. I just love it. So we watched Fast Four.
Okay.
She enjoys it, right? Letty dies,
Yeah.
right? Letty
Yeah.
dies. Oh,
Does. Mm.
right. So the next thing we do, Fast Five.
Fast Five.
So we watched the first five like in a
One of my
night.
think I like Fast Five probably the. I think besides Tokyo Drift, I think I like Fast Five the most. Fast Five is a fun movie.
Fast Five is where Justin Lin starts
It goes
making.
balls to the wall.
He starts making Avengers.
Yeah.
Where he's like, "What's up? You want to have random obscure character from the first movie? Vince. Boom, we got him."
Got him.
Right. So we watched that, and last night we watched Fast Six.
Mm-hmm.
So we have three left if you count the Hobbs and Shaw movie. So
Yeah.
we have. So I had to explain to her at Tokyo Drift. Okay, you're gonna think this is the third movie in the franchise. It's not.
Yeah.
This chronologically, yes, but time wise, no. This is
Time
what
wise, it's like the seventh.
it's gonna be right before Fast Seven.
It also just doesn't make sense when you think about it as a whole, because it's like, I don't know. I feel like Fast Five and Six. Maybe I just need to rewatch them again, but it just feels like it just doesn't feel like there's any place for like Tokyo Drift to take place.
Well, it takes place after 5 and 6.
Does it?
Yeah,
Well,
because
Han dies in 6, or does he die in
he
7?
dies in 7.
Oh, okay.
Because Fast 6 is where Giselle dies, and then right after Fast 6,
Oh.
he goes to Tokyo, and that's when Tokyo Drift happens, and that's also when
Okay.
we see Jason Statham eventually,
Yes.
right? So like
We see. Yeah. Jason
so
Statham.
at Fast 5, I didn't say anything to my girlfriend about the movie. I was like, okay, yeah, just watch it. It's a different kind of movie. But
Yeah.
at Fast 6, I said, hey, by the way, from here on out, soap opera rules.
Yes.
From here on out, it's pure soap opera rules, right?
Yeah.
Because then Letty comes back and she's like, what the fuck? How is Letty
Yeah.
back? Right?
Because they want her back.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
So we finished Fast 6 and we still have to watch Fast 7 and Fast 8. I go, hey, I want to show you the trailer for Fast 9 right now. So but I said, hey, but before I do that, I'm going to tell you right now, spoiler alert, that the bad guy in the next movie is the brother to the guy that he just beat.
Yeah.
She's like, okay, gotcha. And I start playing the trailer for Fast 9, and they're like, who is John Cena? And she's like, Letty's like, oh, that's Dom's brother. And it's like, dude, this whole franchise is such a fucking bullshit
Yeah.
franchise. Yet, I still haven't seen 7, 8. I've seen parts of
Um,
7. I haven't seen. I skimmed through
7 is the
7.
one with Charlize Theron, right? Or is that 8?
Yes. Yeah, it's 7, I think too.
I
Maybe
can't remember. I remember I watched the one where they have the submarine shows up.
that's 8,
They're
I
like
believe.
in like Russia or some shit. I don't even remember what 7 is
7
now.
is Paul Walker's last movie.
Oh, 7. Then 7 is the one. Okay, yeah, no, I like 7 because 7 is the one where they have the safe where they're like dragging that shit around
That's
in
5.
like in the city. That's 5.
That's 5.
I thought that was his last film.
No, 5 is where they're in Brazil. They're in San whatever, Rio whatever, and they have
Shit, dude, I
the
can't
two
even.
chargers. Yeah, the two chargers attached to the safe. Yeah, that's 5.
Dude,
Um,
I need to rewatch these movies. These are all so jumbled up in my mind.
well, because they don't matter.
That's true.
They don't matter. But so I
What
placed
was
the
the plot of 7 then?
Paul
Oh,
Walker
that's just
guys.
Jason Statham. That's right. That's right.
Yeah, Statham. So then so I'm playing Fast 9 trailer, and they're like, so your brother is an assassin, a master thief, and
Yeah.
her face is just like Jesus Christ, right? And
Yeah.
then Han comes back, and she's like, how is he back? I go, I don't know.
Soap opera rules because they
Nobody
want him
knows
back.
soap opera rules. We have no idea.
Yeah.
I went to the Reddit, to the Fast and Furious Reddit, and people are like, Han theories. How did he survive? And then the top comment was
There's no way. Like he gets shot in the head.
the top comment was Fast and Furious. Like
Yeah.
that's how he's back,
Yeah.
right? So
Jason Statham shoots him, doesn't he? Or does he just blow up the
I
car?
think he just blows up the car. I thought
Oh, okay. You would at least hope that they would like give Han some sort of like
they're gonna do
facial scar to be like, oh yeah, you like got
they're
burned
gonna
up.
do what they
like,
did with
survived.
what they did with Letty, where like we thought Letty got shot in the face, but in reality she gets blown up and she just like flies across like a hill.
Yeah. They
So,
like actively rewrite what happened.
yeah. Well, they no, they're be right. They just show us more from a different perspective.
Mm.
From not from Vin Diesel's fucking imaginary recreation.
Oh, I remember 7 now because 7 is when they introduced Kurt Russell.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
Kurt Russell.
7 was not a bad movie. I liked 7.
But the fact that we're at 9 of these motherfuckers.
Yeah, I can't. And then what was it?
10
I think
if
it
you
was
count
a year or
Hobbs
two
and
ago
Shaw.
that Dom said he had to. It was like after 7 or 8. But they're like, yeah, we have a plan for like
12, yeah.
4
like
more
that.
movies.
Yeah.
Like how? How do you have?
Yeah.
How can you keep escalating beyond the fact that you like crashed a submarine in the middle
Like
of
the
the
fact
Arctic?
that like Oceans only did 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have fucking 10 of these movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We plan on having double digits.
Yeah,
for
yeah.
Fast
I
and
still
Furious.
watch them. How did you match Star Wars and like
Yeah.
literally decades less than time? Like you took
Yeah.
decades less time to make this, you know.
Yeah.
But it's at the, what on the trailer video YouTube page for Fast 9, one of the comments said like just have them fight the Avengers at this point. Like just have them fight fucking Marvel. Like you already
Yeah.
have the fucking Invincible team.
Just make him take on the Justice League. Like, go
Like
ahead.
and they just and like the writing is so like it's so bad where like
Mhm.
Ludacris is like hacking a government system, and my girlfriend's
Yeah.
like, "How did he just know to do that?" I go,
Yeah.
"Well, because in Fast 5 he says the comment like, I had a life before this."
Yeah, something like
But
that.
then
That's like their generic throwaway.
yeah,
Where,
like
like you don't know what I
you
did
don't know
before
what I
I
did
met
before
you.
this.
Yeah.
Even though Luke Evans in Fast 6, when he's talking to Dom, he's like, "You started out robbing DVD players."
Yeah.
It's like that's where you fucking started, dude. You
Yeah.
had no skill set before, dick. You stole
Well, that
fucking.
also, at least for like Ludacris's character, you could be like, okay, maybe he like had some sort of life or something like that before he was like a street race promoter. But Dom, it was like, yeah, Dom started off like
But
robbing
also
DVD players. Like I don't understand. He's
in
like this super action badass
in
Superman.
Fast 5, he's
in
like
Fast and Furious.
in Fast 5, they're like, Tedge is like, I want to have a garage. Motherfucker,
Yeah.
you had one
Yeah.
on the water.
Yeah.
And then also, like, okay, so you're telling me Dom, okay, this is how sad,
Mm.
this is how sad this is, right, for John Cena's character and for Vin Diesel's character.
Yeah.
In the trailer, Charlize Theron's like, John Cena, you always wanted to be better than your brother, stronger, a better thief, a better, tougher, better driver.
Yeah.
So you're telling me that like, and he's a younger brother. So you're
Yeah.
telling me at like whatever age he left L.A.,
Mhm.
right? He's like my brother. He's stealing VCRs, so I have to steal fucking paintings.
The
or
Hope Diamond.
where the fuck you're right. I have to be fucking DB Cooper or some bullshit. You tell me like he goes to the army or some shit, becomes like a fucking master assassin. Yet Dom goes to race wars
Yeah.
and beats the guy up with a fucking wrench, and he goes to jail for a little bit. Yet he's as tough as fucking John Cena.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Oh my god, that reminds me of that callback that they had in fucking what was it? I think it was in Fast Five, where they had that callback to that shit when he's like fighting the Rock and he like picks up a wrench, and
Yeah.
I was like, did you really just like try to do that shit? We're like, oh my
Oh
god, he's gonna
man,
kill him.
dude, the movies are full of that shit. That's Justin Lin
Yeah.
being fucking amazing.
Yeah.
So, Fast 1 to 6. That's what I watched. Um,
Fun.
and
Fun.
then I moved into the wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
The wrestling.
Wrestling.
I started rewatching the WWE Network docu-series, The Monday Night War.
Okay.
I just wanted to rewatch it because I've had this desire to watch
Mm-hmm.
wrestling documentary, and the Paul Bearer one came out last week, and this week is the Kane and Undertaker one.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, well, while I'm waiting for that, I'll rewatch some Attitude Era stuff. So I started watching this documentary. It's like 12 hours of like just amazing wrestling documentary. I'm on episode 6 of 12 or 11 or whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
and it's the episode about Chris Jericho, and I'm like, I fucking dig it. I love it so much. If you haven't seen it,
Y2J baby.
Zach, you should really watch it if you haven't seen it. It's so good.
The Monday Night Wars. I don't think I've
Yeah,
watched
you
it.
should watch it. It's really good. Then once you finish, you have to watch the companion series, Ruthless Aggression, where
Okay.
it's all about Ruthless Aggression era, where
Mm-hmm.
it's like, okay, we're leaving the Attitude Era, and we're gonna talk about the cruiserweight stuff, and we're talking about
Yeah.
Eddie, we're talking about SmackDown, we're talking about Brock Lesnar. It's they're both really really well done,
Okay.
and I really enjoy both of them. And we're gonna get more like this to me is like the best part about having the network is
Mm-hmm.
like these two documentary style things because it's such a fun like for me the Attitude Era was such a big part of my life. So like
Yeah.
to be able to rewatch stuff and see stuff that I completely forgot about is so great. Excuse me. And
Mm-hmm.
the other thing I've been doing, which is tied into this directly, was I kept misremembering so much stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to rewatch the entire Attitude Era,
Okay.
right? So I was like, okay, and the network has every episode of Raw and SmackDown up to date
Okay.
so you can go back to 1993 when Raw started
Right.
and watch every show.
Yeah.
So I was googling what year, what episode, what date did the Attitude Era start, and I kept finding a couple different dates. I found
Mm-hmm.
some said it was the start of Stone Cold Steve Austin, the character in like 1996. Some said it
Mm-hmm.
was the WWE said it was like some random episode of Raw in like March. So I
Yeah.
found a general consensus on Reddit. So I started watching from December 15th, 1997. And
Okay.
I'm only a couple weeks into that because obviously it's fucking years of shit.
Yeah.
But like just watching it, a lot of people I see on YouTube or Reddit who talk about wrestling currently or WWE currently will
Mm-hmm.
be like the Attitude Era wasn't as good as you remember it because it's nostalgia
Right.
or different type of storytelling. Um, and those people are wrong. It's just as good as I remember it.
Okay.
Um, the wrestling is it's a lot of show. It's a lot of sports entertainment still,
Yeah.
right? I think the wrestling is definitely better in the Ruthless Aggression era, which is
Mm.
the brand split and all that kind of stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
when Brock Lesnar kind of gets there, I'm not saying he's the reason why wrestling is good, but I think that's the better peak of WWE wrestling in
Mm.
modern era. Because currently it's not there really, except for NXT. But
Yeah.
I'm having a good time rewatching these old ass shits.
Mm-hmm.
And in addition to that, what I did was I wanted to watch TLC matches, so I went
Mm.
and watched. I went to pay per views and just watched the first two TLC matches, which were the main three tag teams in the Attitude Era. So
Mm-hmm.
Dudley Boys, Hardy Boys, Edge and Christian
Yeah.
at Survivor Series.
That TLC is an awesome match.
Yeah, I think it's Survivor Series 2000, I think, and then I watched the sequel, which is at WrestleMania X7. So I watched both of those, and they're mind blowing, just how good they are, and it's mind blowing to me how so many stars like of those three teams. The Dudley Boys are usually a tag team, but Bubba Ray has been a solo guy before in
Mm-hmm.
Impact. Jeff Hardy has had a singles run as champion.
Yeah.
Matt Hardy had a singles run, never was champion, I don't believe, but he's had a singles run before. He's obviously at
I
AEW
think
now.
I remember I was watching big into like the PG era or whatnot when it was like Jeff and Matt were like already split and like Edge was like the superstar that he is now. And I think they gave him like I think he had that storyline where it was like he basically became the champion. It was one of those things where he like became the champion and then he lost it in like 5 seconds to like somebody who won like a Money in the Bank or something like
Yeah.
that. But yeah,
Well, that's all the Ruthless Aggression era. That's all
yeah,
Ruthless Aggression. That's like John Cena, birth of John Cena,
hmm
or Matt Hardy's V1, all that kind of
yeah,
shit. Um, it has the fucking, like, whenever he would come out to the entrance, there would be a sidebar that would
hmm
have like random Matt Hardy facts.
yeah,
Like Matt Hardy hates sushi, or Matt Hardy wears, loves wearing Nikes or some dumb shit like that. But
hmm
so TLC 1 and 2, and like I said, obviously Edge and Christian. Edge became the bigger of the two,
yeah.
and it's so sad because Christian is so good,
Christian's a
and
great wrestler.
he obviously spent a lot of time in TNA, and I watched a lot of his TNA run as a kid,
hmm
and he did become the guy in TNA. Eventually, he's like no Kurt Angle and him became higher level athletes or no wrestlers, whatever,
hmm
other way around, athletes for wrestlers.
Yeah,
But you can see the stardom in them in these matches, obviously, and they're taking some crazy bumps, and it's so good. So that's the other beautiful thing about having the network is being able to watch these matches. And then lastly, I watched AEW Full Gear last week, 2020 pay per view,
mm
and I'll tell you what, dude,
mm.
there's something happening to me, and I don't like it.
You're not liking AEW as much.
I'm not. I haven't been watching it as consistently,
hmm
but my problem is that. Do you know Jim Cornette?
Yeah.
So he's a wrestling historian. He's been in business a long time. He's
hmm
kind of like a curmudgeon old man.
Yeah.
He's very outspoken, very kind of blunt about wrestling. How he views AEW in a really negative light for the most
hmm
part. There's things he likes about it, but there's definitely things that are happening in AEW and in wrestling as a whole where I'm not trying to like just keep talking about wrestling, but like
Yeah.
the idea that finishers don't matter anymore because you just do them 15 times and you
mm
have a lot of false finishes and like
Yeah.
like super kicks don't matter anymore,
Yeah.
power bombs don't matter anymore. It's been a progression over
It's kind of the
time.
escalation of wrestling in general. Because I remember when I was watching it a lot, it was a lot of that, especially in like WWE when I was watching a lot of like SmackDown and Raw like every week. Like I would DVR and watch it like every week. I remember that started to ramp up a lot, where it was like it would take like 3 or 4 finishers to like take down a guy, and it kind of like it's like
And
it defeats the
Go
point.
for
It defeats the
broke.
point of a finisher if it takes you like five
yeah,
times to like finally get a guy
I
down.
mean it's happened. It's been happening for a long time, so it's not just AEW's fault or New
hmm
Japan's fault. It's been a thing happening for decades now.
Yeah.
And that those things are cool and they build character pretty well.
hmm
Like if I was literally was watching the first Elimination Chamber match
hmm
on the network, which was Kane, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Chris Jericho, Booker T,
hmm
and Rob Van Dam.
hmm
And to pin Kane, he had to get super kicked and line salted, like all these different finishers,
Yeah.
and that keeps him strong as a big guy, and that's
Yeah.
perfectly. I'm fine with that. But it's more so also I talked about it before in the podcast with intergender wrestling,
hmm
where I think it makes characters weaker. Like I mentioned on the exact conversation I had on the podcast was about a guy named Brian Cage who's on AEW now. Who is this stud guy? He
hmm
is like yoked on
hmm
roids, right? And he's a great athlete. Does a lot of freaking agile ass shit, powerful as fuck guy.
hmm
But he got pinned by a lady,
mm
and she's not like a big. She's not like she's like China.
Right.
She's like an average looking, you know,
Yeah.
fit CrossFit like she's not huge.
Right.
And to me, it's wrestling, so yeah, it's not real. And it goes back to that battle of like it's pro wrestling, so we should be entertainment focused, and we
hmm
can bend life because it's pro wrestling, or are we going to be more sports oriented, which
mm
it's not sports, it's pro wrestling. So it's that weird intermediate ground where it's always constantly pulling on one or the other and kind of like tug of war in
Mm-hmm.
different decades and different promotions. And the false finisher, the lack of finisher moves that mean anything, like you can almost count them. And I was listening to Jim Cornette talk about the Young Bucks, who I love, and a lot of his criticisms. I was like, oh man, he's full of shit. And then I was watching AEW Full Gear, and I was like, oh no, he's 100% right. I was like, fuck, dude. Like, so I was seeing them, these people that I've loved for so many years now, with new eyes, being like, oh my gosh, like there's so many things about this company and this style of wrestling that I'm really not enjoying anymore because of just like, and I'm not like some old curmudgeon guy being like, oh, it was better in the '70s. I wasn't alive then, but like
Yeah.
it's just more like shit. Like, could this be done differently that would still be effective on storytelling?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that I don't like high flying shit or like false finishers because they're cool,
Yeah.
but it becomes a spot fest where it becomes like, you know, as my AEW ring is right there, it becomes like a spot fest where like, okay, we're gonna do a high spot here and then a high
Yeah.
spot there, and we're gonna do a finisher here, and then you're gonna hit me if your finisher here, two
Mm-hmm.
reversals there, super kick there, knee here, Kenny Omega will do a move here, and we're the only move we're gonna protect is the one winged angel, but other than that, we can do everything else, and we can still kick out,
Yeah.
and it's kind of like it loses its cool. Like if you get stunned, kick stunnered, or stone cold
Mm-hmm.
stunnered, you don't kick out.
Yeah.
You know, unless you're like a really like it's a pay per view, the
Mm-hmm.
heat's there, the crowd's buzzing, and it's a fucking like, you know,
Yeah.
it's the Rock. Then you gotta give him two because it's the fucking
Yeah.
Rock, or if it's vice versa, you gotta give him two Rock Bottoms, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Right.
Um, and with Full Gear pay per view AEW, I enjoyed a lot of the matches. A lot of my same issue I've had for the last year now. I mentioned in the podcast where a lot of those people I don't care about, and
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the stars I don't give a shit about. Um, but the one match I thought was really great actually was the Young Bucks match, not because of the Young Bucks, but because of the tag team that they wrestled, which were the champions, which was the Revival, or FTR is what they're
Okay.
called. FTR is what they're called now. Fear the Revolt, fuck the rest. It's all these different names, and they're
Mm-hmm.
like old school. They're like old school wrestling. That's their
Mm-hmm.
gimmick. Like they come in there, they say no, no frills. What was it like? No frills, just punches or some, just fists or something like that. Like
Mm-hmm.
they beat people up.
Yeah.
They punch them, they kick them, they stomp them. They look like the fucking. They look like Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard. They look like Midnight Express. They're old school style wrestlers, and they just like beat you up.
Mm-hmm.
And they're brawlers, and they kick your ass. And
Right.
they're not gonna like go to the top rope and do a double backflip, you
Yeah.
know, which is cool. But when everybody's doing that,
Yeah.
to me,
It gets kind of old.
like it was cool seeing our Rob Van Dam and Eddie do frog splashes because no one else was doing frog splashes in
Mm.
WWE, right? But AEW, everyone can do that, which is a
Yeah.
great arsenal to have. But like at the same time, like you're taking away from the, you know, the impact of seeing someone do a
Yeah.
fucking frog splash from that high or that far, you know, like.
Right.
And I think other people obviously feel differently about that particular style of wrestling storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
As I'm getting older, I'm starting to be tired of like just seeing everybody get hit with these big ass moves just to put
Yeah.
them in there. And
Mm-hmm.
not it's cool sometimes. It really is cool sometimes to see just athletic ability. But at the same time, it's kind of like you can just punch guys.
Yeah.
You can just brawl.
You can just be physical. Yeah.
You can just be physical and do some big power moves every now and then, and you can
I
take
mean,
the
that's
pace
basically like
down.
Brock Lesnar's thing, isn't it? Where he's just like he beats the shit out of people.
Yeah, he's
Every
powerful.
once in a while, he puts in like an F5, but like for the most part, he's just like
Every
knocking
once in a while,
people
he
out.
tries to do a top of the rope backflip and breaks his neck or some shit.
Yeah.
But like it's you don't have to be, you know, I don't know, man. Like it's when I was first getting back into wrestling, like probably 5 or 6 years ago, like right
Mm-hmm.
before you and I actually went to go watch SmackDown.
Right.
Right before that, I was getting back into wrestling, right? And New
Mm-hmm.
Japan and Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks were the reasons why I got back into it because it was something that I've never seen before. Like
Right.
it reminded me of AJ Styles, what he was doing in TNA when I was a kid,
Mm-hmm.
or no, middle school, but on a different level. Like it was like, oh my gosh, these guys are doing these fucking badass moves. They have cool gimmicks. They remind me of the old rockers from the '90s and Shawn Michaels, and they're doing super kick parties and Kenny Omega's video game themed and all this
Mhm.
shit. And I was like, this is amazing, right? And they're doing hard ass stiff bumps and they're doing like neck bumps and all this badass stuff.
Mhm.
But then everyone, to me, in my mind, like everyone's watching them because they're so popular, and now
Mhm.
they're doing it. Now
Yeah.
other people are watching them and they're doing it. Now there are people watching them and they're doing it, and people want NXT to be more like AEW, and they want WWE Raw and SmackDown to be more like NXT, which is more like AEW, which is more like New Japan. All the stuff, the shit, and I'm like, okay, there's things that are great about those particular styles, right? I
Mhm.
love the hard hitting shit, right? But
Yeah.
then I went and I watched a match on NXT like 2 weeks ago. And NXT is great overall. But there's a match between a guy named Walter, who I've never watched before in
Mhm.
the Indies. I've only ever seen him in WWE, and a kid named like Ilya Dragunov or something like that. It was NXT UT, so it's the smallest WWE brand. It's in England. You can only
Mhm.
watch it if you have the network, or if you're in England, they have it on TV.
Right.
And Walter's the champion for NXT UK. He's part of a faction called Imperium,
Mhm.
which is they want to bring back the honor to wrestling, like bring
Mhm.
back like the honor to the wrestling mat and the square circle. And they're old school, dude. And this dude's like 6'5". He's not yoked. He looks like an old school wrestler, kind of got like a kind of pudgy.
Mhm.
And these guys fucking chopped the hell out of each other for like 30 sub minutes.
Mhm.
Chopped and suplexed and fucking punched, and it was an amazing match.
Mhm.
And it showed me that like you don't have to do cruiserweight level shit all the time. You
Yeah.
can just be Batista,
Yeah.
and that can work if you're a good worker. And it made me watch Full Gear with like a
Mhm.
whole new eyes, where I'm like, I don't. You need a full roster of dudes doing double backflips.
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes down to the whole mindset of just like there is such thing as like you can have too much of a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Like when you look back at your favorite, who's your favorite wrestler?
I mean,
When you were watching when you were a
mine's always
kid,
been Randy Orton. I
Randy
love
Orton.
Randy Orton.
Okay, he's amazing. He
Yeah,
can do everything, right?
yeah,
But he's not doing high spots off the top ropes.
no,
He's fucking brawling.
yeah,
He's doing technical shit in the ring. He's doing
hmm,
suplexes. He's like the only guys who are at that level still doing like
yeah,
old style Missouri, where he's from, like
hmm,
his dad and his grandpa
hmm,
style wrestling.
yeah,
And he's quick, agile. He's ripped. He's
hmm,
always been ripped. He's ripped, more ripped now than he was fucking 20 years
yeah,
ago. You know, and he's amazing.
yeah,
And he will not do high spots. He will not go off the
no,
top of the top rope. And I mean, I'm sure he has every now and then, but like he actively criticizes AEW New Japan for that stuff. And like when I first saw that, I was like, Randy, you're just 40.
yeah.
You're
You're just
just
an old
you're just
man.
an old man in a young buck's world,
Yeah,
literally. You don't know what you're talking about. And now I'm like, fucking Randy knew what the fuck he's talking about. Like Randy, I should listen to Randy more often. Him and his fucking generational family. No, three
yeah.
generations of fucking pro wrestling. I should probably listen to Randy Orton. Um,
Well,
well, to end my rant, that's kind of where I'm at. Where I'm going back and I'm watching old wrestling because it's just like to like reset the palette, kind of see where I
yeah.
to see where it should be, because I love New Japan and I love AEW wrestle for the most part, the big tentpole wrestlers. But at pay per view at Full Gear, Kenny and Hangman, who were tag team champions, wrestle each other. That they've been building it up for a while. Kenny won. Kenny's in a full heel turn. He's back as the cleaner. So he's gonna wrestle Moxley for the belt at some
Okay.
point. He'll probably win.
Mox is kind of one of those ones where I feel like I don't know. Maybe I haven't watched him too much in AEW, but I feel like he was always one of the ones that was kind of more of a brawler aspect to it.
Well,
He's not really much of a high flyer.
he comes from the hardcore background, so that's kind of his
Yeah.
style. He always
Hmm.
brings a weapon to a match, which is really kind of annoying.
Yeah.
He should just wrestle,
Yeah.
and do a hardcore match when it's a hardcore match.
Hmm.
But he'll wrestle Kenny. Kenny will win. Hangman Page will eventually get back there as a babyface, and he'll beat Kenny, and then Kenny will drop the belt to Hangman to make him
Mm-hmm.
top guy. That's where they're at, and
Mm-hmm.
I can tell that.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Jericho's 50,
Yeah.
and he looks 50.
Yeah. He looks like he's 50.
He
Yeah.
I mean he looks great for 50. He looks better than me, and I'm 27.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying like he looks 50 in the
Yeah.
ring, and I'm getting worried where I'm like, don't Ric Flair it, which is like Ric
Yeah.
Flair's last match he was 56,
Yeah.
or his quote unquote last match. And I was like, you can't do a lot of the moves anymore, bro.
Yeah.
Like his finisher's not Walls Jericho. It's
Yeah.
not Codebreaker. It's the fucking elbow.
Yeah.
Because like he says it's because he wants to be. In kayfabe he's like faster, more efficient, deadlier. I'm like,
He
no,
can't
it's
take the
because
back bump.
you can't do the bumps anymore.
Yeah.
Which is
Can't take the
fine.
back
You're
bump
fucking
anymore for the
50.
code breaker.
You
Yeah.
had a fucking humongous career. I'm
Yeah.
literally watching him in that elimination match, and he's doing like these fucking lion salt, like these
Mm-hmm.
springboards, like these fucking crazy. I'm like, dude, it's okay.
Yeah.
You can retire, or just
Yeah.
be a mic guy.
Yeah. I think he would honestly be probably better as like a mic guy than just like getting out of business in general because he's got great mic skills.
Yeah,
So
his brain is so good. He's still wrestling well. It's not like he's wrestling
yeah,
bad, but
he's just not doing a lot of the high
he's a
risk
brawler.
shit that he used to do.
He's a
Yeah.
brawler. He's not a cruiserweight anymore. He's a brawler.
Yeah.
And that's fine. It just every time I see him wrestle now, I get excited, but also I kind of get like, oh man.
Yeah.
I remember you when I was a kid, dude.
Yeah.
1999, you were like so fucking sick,
Yeah.
and now I'm like,
Yeah.
you're still cool, but at the same time, I'm like, man, I miss Y2J. I miss Break the Walls Down, man.
Break the walls down.
Well, I'll call it there. That's 20 minutes of me talking about wrestling, so I'm sorry. Um, hey, it's Kaiju Month.
It's Kaiju Month. Kaiju Month.
Kaiju Month.
Rock
This
the
is
new
our
swag.
4 weeks, if I think 4 weeks.
I think so. Yeah.
We're watching kaiju movies of different backgrounds and of ancestry.
Yes.
So Zach, what did we watch? What did we watch this week, bro?
This week we went to I would say an American classic, not an American classic kaiju movie, although it is a kaiju movie, but it is a classic American movie. We watched Tremors, the Kevin Bacon vehicle.
Right. And
Goddamn, dude, this movie is so fun.
I mentioned last week. I don't know if it was on the podcast or not. I've never
Mhm.
seen the movie before.
Yeah.
I've never seen it before. I've always known what it is. I know the premise.
Yeah.
I've seen glimpses on TV before. Sci-Fi Channel probably replay it at some point.
Hmm.
But I've never sat down and watched the whole thing
Yeah.
until this week, and it's a
Mhm.
good movie.
It's a really, really good movie.
movie.
I mean, it's like even as I was watching it, I feel like it's a movie that like it doesn't have any like identity crisis about like what it is.
Yeah.
It's like no, like there's giant monsters underneath the earth. We got to try to get away from them. Like that's the
Yeah.
whole movie. It's not like trying to like throw in a bunch of like random shit that like doesn't matter or some like weird like B plot. Like no, like the whole movie is like from start to as soon as the monster shows up, they're like, all right, we got to try to get away from them because if we don't, they're gonna kill us. So
the first thing I saw when I started the movie was okay, runtime. Perfect runtime. 90,
yeah, it's like
90 minutes.
It's like right around like 90 minutes.
Like, 90. I go okay. First off, amazing. It's a monster movie. I don't need 2 hours of monster movie.
Yeah.
And then I noticed so fast, they get you into the movie.
Mm-hmm.
They tell you who the characters are.
Yeah.
And then 10 minutes later, we're building story.
Yeah.
Like opening scene, we learn who they are, and then for the next 20 minutes, 30 minutes of the movie, it's setting up the big action set pieces. It's we're driving around town trying to leave, and we keep getting stopped. That's the setup, and then it becomes from then on out. It's just like okay, we got some big shit going on, and to me that's such well storied like writing. That's such good writing and pacing. Because again, like monster movies can get bloated so bad, and that happened to like Godzilla, like the most recent, the 20 was it 16 Godzilla reboot. That was what it was inflated, and that's the problem with it. One of the big problems with it was inflated. But with this movie, it was like, no, we know what we are. We're a B movie. We're gonna
Hmm.
come in here and we're gonna fucking chop it up at the beginning. That to me was really smart.
Yeah, yeah, I like that a lot. And yeah, I like what you're talking about. I think this movie does. I think the writing on this movie is really, really sharp, and like I said, like you said, I think it does a really, really good job of introducing you to every single character that's going to be in this movie. And I think specifically, I mean, obviously, it gets more into like Kevin Bacon and Fred Ward's character than like anybody else. But even all the
Sure.
characters in the town, I think it does a really good job in that first like 10 to 15 minutes of like really setting up like all of their little quirks and like
Yeah.
kind of like their personality. Like you're not getting like a full deep dive, but
Yeah.
kind of like where each character's mindset is, especially when you get to like Reba McEntire and her husband's character, where they're like, okay, these are like survivalist people, like
Yeah.
they're out here in the middle of nowhere because they want to be. You've got like the mom and her kid, and like the kid's like pogoing around and all what. You've got like the fucking asshole kid who like clearly just wants attention because he's in the middle of fucking nowhere, so he's like playing pranks and just like messing with everybody.
Who are his parents?
That was the thing that I didn't understand because it just feels like he's just here by himself and like
Yeah.
nobody is like in charge of him.
Yeah.
He's just like there, and it's never brought up that like he doesn't have parents. He's just this
Right.
random kid.
But yeah, it's that exact smart thing where in the opening scene, you learn exactly how the friendship is between the two of those guys.
Yeah.
With like the breakfast conversation, they do the rock paper scissors and all that kind of stuff. So you learn automatically that's how they're gonna approach all the situations that they face in the movie, and then you're like, okay, that's a funny little moment, and they do it again. I'm like, okay, and then they do it a third time. Like, okay, I gotcha. This is what we're doing now, and like exactly you're saying, like they introduce everyone so effectively that
Yeah.
we're not worried about having a deep history because you know what their role is in the movie. Like it's a
Hmm.
monster movie, and I think that's really well done.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I think I think that's an interesting aspect to it. And I like the creature designs as
Yeah,
well.
definitely.
Um, I think that each part of the creature design has like its own, little thing to it where it's like, they've got their little like head beak thing that allows them to like drill. And they bring up the fact that they have like fins that like allow them like move through the dirt super easily. Like basically it's like sand to them and whatnot. Um, it's interesting because yeah, it feels like a real creature that could be out there because it just feels like each part of it is like kind of like biologically sound. Like it all makes sense.
Right. I really like the creature design. First off, the effects in this movie are amazing.
Yeah.
Like all the effects are great. The practical effects, the monster design's cool, and
Hmm.
the miniature work is great.
The miniature, I think, yeah, I like the way that they're able to like blend the effects
Yeah,
together is really, really well. They're able to really switch between like the miniatures and then when they actually have like a full puppet that they're using, like they're
yeah.
able to like mix all that stuff really, really well together.
I love though, like the effect wise, like
Hmm.
the when the doctor and his wife get killed, that whole scene is such a perfect like use of those effects.
Yeah.
Like it's dark, so you can't they can hide it, but
Hmm.
also they have such confidence in their monster. They're like, yo, fuck it, we're in the desert, we're gonna do it in the sun too.
Yeah.
And like they show and the house shaking at the end of the
Hmm.
movie, like the whole roof is like buckling, and all that stuff looked so good, and
Yeah.
all the effects are so well done that like I did not expect the movie to have like that good of level of practical effects. I thought it was gonna be like really
Yeah.
kind of like corny B movie. It's a B movie,
Hmm.
but like it looks good.
Yeah.
It looks really
Yeah.
good.
It holds up really, really well. There's one shot that looks like kind of weird. Um, where it was like they're like it's like the underground or the basement scene where the creature bursts through. And
Yeah,
there's one like weird janky shot that it was like the guy's like firing on the creature and he's
yep,
like in
yep,
the
yep,
same
yep,
shot,
yep, yeah.
and that looks weird. I saw it and I was like, ugh, that's kind of strange. But that's like the only part that's like that, and so it does. It also doesn't make sense because it's like there's nothing else in the movie like that, so I don't know
Yeah.
why they like added that in. But that was like a really janky shot. But everything besides that looks like fantastic.
I guess probably because that was a miniature and then that was like combined with
Yeah.
other shots, like another shot
Mm.
so they have the perspective there. But like
Yeah.
the miniature looked great or the puppet looked
Hmm.
great, and then like it's such a simple story
Yeah.
that like and they're not giving you all this shit to worry about they're like, yeah, it's a monster. It moves to the dirt. It eats you.
Yeah.
It can hear shit. That's why you stay on rocks. And that
Hmm.
is, and the music was so goofy at the beginning of the
Yeah.
movie, like stupid country music or whatever.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, this is gonna be a shit movie. Zach's full of
Yeah.
shit. This movie is gonna be terrible. I mean, it had 5-star reviews, so I know that people liked it.
Yeah.
And then the moment it got to like the pole vaulting shit, I was like, okay, this movie it's not taking itself too seriously, which is
Mm-mm.
that's when I know that it's gonna be okay. Because if
Yeah.
it was trying to be like a serious monster movie, which I didn't think so from the fact that it was goofy, I was
Yeah.
like, okay, this movie is can like understand. Hey, these are fucking dirt
Yeah.
monsters, and we're gonna just write it out.
They're giant man-eating worms, essentially.
Like even like the fact that it has the grandfather from Three Ninjas in it, and they're like their primary concerns like, okay, how do we name it?
Yeah.
Like that to me is so fucking funny
Yeah.
because
Well,
that's
it's like that. There's a surprising amount of humor in it. The one that always gets me is the part where it's like they're shooting the creature in the basement or whatnot,
mm-hmm.
and then like the one guy runs out of ammo, and all of a sudden it like pulls back, and there's just like
Yeah.
wall just filled with guns.
Mm-hmm. And then she's like mag, and then he's like, yeah, God,
Mag.
tosses the mag, breaks the elephant gun out.
Yeah.
Um, I really like the when Kevin Bacon and the other guy, I don't know what the other guy's name
Yeah.
um, is it Valentine and Earl or Valentine and
Valentine. Oh shit. What is his
Val
name?
and something,
Yeah.
whatever. When the two main guys
Yeah.
are running in the desert and they jump and they both don't make the jump and they fall in
Mhm.
that little crevice and then the thing dies from hitting the concrete, the small
Yeah.
thing, and Kevin Bacon says "fuck you," and it's so exaggerated and like elongated, like musical almost.
Yeah.
It was such a fun. It's a fun scene, and Kevin Bacon's character is so funny, and
Yeah.
their relationship is really funny. So that's not fleshed out in the sense of like a dramatic movie, but
Yeah.
in the sense of a B movie, it's pretty well fleshed out.
Yeah.
And I was getting a lot of Gremlin vibes. Not in the sense of
Yeah. I could
like
see
it's a
that.
similar movie in terms of like, oh, these monsters are similar, but like in terms of like we're not going to give you. It knows what it is.
Hmm.
It knows its identity, and
Yeah.
it's not going to try to be something else. And we're going to make a movie with good effects,
Hmm.
and we know our budget, and we know what the actors can do in this world, and we're
Yeah.
not going to be like Godzilla, where Godzilla
Yeah.
didn't. Like I said, I keep saying Godzilla, it didn't
Mhm.
know what the fuck what it was. Like
Yeah.
the Bryan Cranston Godzilla was trying to be this like commentary on fucking nuclear war or some shit, and like
Hmm.
it didn't know that's a movie about a guy in a rubber costume,
Yeah.
and that was his downfall, part of the downfall, in my opinion. But like
Hmm.
Tremors was like, yo, we know what it is, and we're gonna make this movie, and it's gonna be goofy
Yeah.
and funny, and I think it was really well done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
I definitely agree with that.
and I see why there's six of them.
Yeah.
I see why there's
Well,
fucking
that was
six of
the other
them.
thing that like got me when I was looking at it, and I was like, oh, there's like, like I knew there were sequels, but I didn't realize because they're like there was a sequel that like just came out.
This came
Like
out, yeah.
I was in Target and I was like thinking about it. I was like, oh, there's like a Tremors sequel that was released like this year. Like
This
what?
like October,
Mm-hmm.
like October, and
Yeah.
you know and it has the guy in it apparently. It
Yeah.
has the gun guy.
Yeah.
He's in it,
I guess
and
he's like apparently he's like the through line through all of the movies is that like he's there.
so I know
At
that
least from like reading the back of the box of what
I
it's
know
what it
that in
sounds like.
the second movie I was looking at the Wikipedia page that Fred Ward is in the second movie.
Yeah.
Kevin Bacon's run off to marry the girl,
Yeah.
but like you get everything you need in this movie. You get it from the get go.
Yeah.
You get the commentary about him and his girlfriends,
Mm-hmm.
and they have to fit they have to fit the thing. His
Mm-hmm.
quote, his like standard. You get the relationship between the two guys, and it's like the
Yeah.
brotherly older brother, like fatherly
Yeah.
kind of men. They're trying to leave because life sucks.
His life's terrible there, and they just got pelted with shit for like five
Yeah,
minutes.
it helps that the town has 14 people.
Yeah.
Like, okay, it helps.
Small number of characters. Yeah. You don't really have
Yeah,
to worry about like too many. And so, yeah, there's a town of a population of 14. There's really not much you can
yeah,
like miss out on.
and you can get a hint of everybody in their role.
Mm-hmm.
I do really like. I like the fact that it's in the daytime a lot.
Yeah,
I like that the fact that it like wasn't afraid to make the movie in the sun
yeah.
and put the monster effects out there with no
Yeah,
like
you don't have to worry
hiding.
about it's not like the thing where you have to have like dramatic lighting or whatnot so you can't tell it's a puppet. Like,
Yeah.
it's in the light of day and it still looks
Look,
fairly
which
good.
not to compare this movie to the Thing because
Yeah.
those effects are fucking great and
Those effects are
are
fantastic.
great. Those effects are great
Yeah.
and they're even like what 12 years before this, so it's
I
like
think so, yeah.
amazing effects. But like
Amazing
I
effects.
do like that this movie was like, no, fuck it, we're confident in
Yeah.
our monster,
Hmm.
and we're confident in our house destruction effects. And
Yeah.
I do like the foreshadowing of the fucking kid, where
Hmm.
Fred Ward's character is like, you're gonna get your ass kicked one day.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, he's gonna get his
Yeah.
ass kicked one day. Eventually, he gets his ass kicked. You know,
Yeah.
I like that a lot. I like the how they're constantly raising the stakes of the movie. Okay, it's like,
Yes.
okay, we're gonna go. We're in the desert. It's killing people. Okay,
Hmm.
go on rocks. Okay, go in the house. The monster's like, fuck you. And there's just
Go on the
constantly,
roof.
yeah,
Yeah.
constantly raising the stakes
Yeah.
without being like too, because it's only 90 minutes.
Yeah.
So they only have so much time to tell the story. So
Hmm.
they're never staying too long in one segment. They're like, okay, here we
Yeah.
go, here we go, here we go,
Hmm.
here we go. And to me, that's really good. And
Yeah, I like
I didn't
that
expect
constant
that.
escalation, and they do it really well too. Where it's like they establish pretty early that the creatures can kind of learn, and it gets to the point
Yeah,
where it's like, yeah, it's like,
the one
you
guy,
know,
one they fought in the beginning.
yeah,
Yeah, I like that.
yeah,
I also really like the humor is good in the movie,
yeah,
but like where I think they were in the shop where they're
hmm,
like where Fred Ward's character is like, or maybe it's Fred Ward's character
hmm,
or maybe it was Kevin Bacon. One of the two guys is like, they're gonna say that no one's came out here, or they're gonna come check on us, and they're gonna see what's up and see the road's blocked, and it
yeah,
immediately cuts to the like fucking like inspection car with the fucking two dead
yeah,
guys. Like
hmm,
that to me was it's giving you like
yeah,
the the reasoning for
yeah,
the okay, like, well, of course the town's if it's blocked, the town's blocked. There's a road work here. They're gonna come check on it. Well, no, they did. They're dead.
yeah, but they're dead.
They're dead. So they're
Yeah,
giving you the reasoning, then immediately showing you like, here's why they're alone.
hmm,
And to me, I think that's really well done. I did
yeah,
not expect that much level of professionalism
yeah,
from this movie.
100%. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's I can't think of anything else I want to say about it besides the fact that it's really good. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I just had a really fun time with it. Yeah, I think and I think it's one of those movies that I mean, you hadn't seen it. I feel like it's one of those movies that not a lot of people have seen or really think about, but I think it's a one that uh is really really well done and it's super fun. And like we said, it's like only 90 minutes, so it's not really like
Yeah,
a huge time suck either. Like you get in, you get your enjoyment, and you get out.
yeah. And if you want more, you have
Yeah.
five left to watch if you want if you want more of it. Um,
Yeah.
but I guess final thoughts. Yeah, I agree completely with everything that what you said. It's
Mhm.
I was surprised, very thoroughly surprised that I was. I mean, the ratings were there, but I
Mhm.
couldn't tell if it was like, oh, it's just cult movie, cult
Yeah.
classic movie, so people like because of nostalgia. But like
Mhm.
for a 1990 monster movie in the daylight with Kevin Bacon,
Yeah.
it's pretty good, and
Pretty
I'm
good.
surprised it was that level of quality. I
Mhm.
expected something goofy and like some fucking bullshit like James Gunn style bullshit
Mm.
movie,
Mhm.
and it wasn't. I mean, it's in that vein. It's still in
Yeah.
that vein, but it's really good. I thought it was gonna be like arachnophobia or fucking like eight legged freaks or
Mm.
some shit.
Yeah.
I think eight legged freaks is what I'm talking about more.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's not. It's really good, and I really enjoyed
Mhm.
it. And I won't watch more probably, but
Yeah, I don't think I
the
will
first
either.
one's all I need. I think.
The first one's a pretty good, solid wrap up of that story. I really don't think you need more than that.
Yeah,
So,
I don't think I need five more of them.
yeah,
Even though the ones on Netflix, maybe I'll watch if I'm bored. I
maybe.
heard it was pretty good, actually.
The new one looked kind of interesting because it had fucking Napoleon Dynamite in it.
Oh yeah, I did see that on
Yeah.
Wikipedia.
Mm.
But that's Tremors.
Yes.
Um, Zach, anything else you want to say about Tremors or the pod before we close out this week?
No, no. I mean, if you guys haven't watched Tremors yet, I highly recommend you do. It's a super fun time.
Cool. Well, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.
Yes.
We'll see you back next week with more License to View and Kaiju Month Episode 3.
Episode 3 of Kaiju Month.
See you guys.